The leather of the car seat was cool against Liam's cheek. He blinked, the world swimming into focus. Dark paneling. A sliver of gray light from a high, round window. The smell of salt and diesel fuel. The gentle, nauseating sway. Panic, cold and sharp, lanced through him. He tried to move, his muscles screaming in protest. His wrists were bound tightly behind his back. Carter. The name was a drumbeat in his skull. He had to find Carter. With a grunt, he pushed himself up, rolling to his knees. The space was small, cluttered with shadows that looked like stacked crates. A storage room. On a boat. The hum of engines vibrated through the floor. The door burst open before he could stand. Light from the corridor silhouetted 3 figures. The one in front was built like a linebacker, his face shadowed by a cap. Alan. Where is he? Liam's voice was rough and used. Where's Carter? Alan didn't answer. He stepped aside, and a 4th man walked in. Walter. Liam's grandfather's longtime driver, his face usually a mask of neutral deference, now held a flat, calculating expression. On your feet, Walter said, his voice devoid of its usual warmth. The boss wants a word. They hauled Liam up. He didn't fight, letting his body go slack, assessing. His shoulders throbbed where the blows had landed earlier. The taste of copper was still in his mouth. They marched him out into a narrow hallway, past a pile of orange plastic gasoline cans that made his stomach clench, and up a short flight of stairs. The room they entered was larger, a lounge area with wraparound windows showing nothing but pre-dawn ocean, black and endless. 5 more men stood around, all armed, all watching him. Walter took a seat on a low leather sofa. I always thought you were a sharp one, Liam. Ambitious. I saw the drive in you even as a kid. Your grandfather saw it too. That's why this is such a disappointment. Liam remained standing, swaying slightly with the boat's motion. Cut the nostalgic act, Walter. We both know the old man hasn't been disappointed in years. He's been planning this. Where's Carter? Safe. For now. Walter leaned forward. Your grandfather gave you everything. The education, the position, the trust. And you repaid him with what? Contempt? A waiting knife? A harsh laugh escaped Liam. He gave me a cage and called it a throne. And the price was my mother's peace. My entire childhood. You want to talk about repayment? He's getting exactly what he invested in. Walter's eyes hardened. He nodded to Alan, who drove a fist into Liam's kidney. The pain was blinding, white-hot. Liam crumpled to one knee, sucking in a sharp breath. That, Walter said calmly, is for the disrespect. For the nights your grandfather spent wondering where his own son was, while the grandson he raised schemed against him. Liam spat on the polished teak floor, a red fleck landing near Walter's shoe. He knows where my father is. I made sure of it. You think killing me gets you that information? It gets you a corpse and a ghost. We'll see. Walter stood, pulling a small, polished stone brooch from his pocket. Liam's breath hitched. It was the agate piece Carter always wore, the one from his mother. Sentimental value, Walter mused, turning it over in his fingers. A curious thing to give to a business associate. Or perhaps not so curious. Liam's composure cracked. If you've hurt him, your concern is touching. And useful. Walter pocketed the brooch. Your grandfather is a sentimental man himself, in his way. He didn't want you to be alone. Since you're so attached to Mr. Reed, he can keep you company. Permanently. The threat hung in the air, more chilling than the ocean outside. Liam's mind raced, discarding options, searching for leverage. His father was the only card he had, but playing it meant nothing if Carter wasn't safe. Let Carter go, Liam said, the words dragged from somewhere deep and raw. You get him off this boat, unharmed, and I'll tell you everything. Where my father is, how to contact him. Everything. Walter studied him, a predator evaluating wounded prey. You'd trade your only bargaining chip for him? He's not a bargaining chip, Liam snarled. He has nothing to do with this family's poison. Let him go. My father's location for his life. That's the deal. Walter was silent for a long moment. Then he gestured. Take him back down. Let him think about the realities of his situation. They dragged Liam, now resisting weakly, back to the storage room and shoved him inside. The door locked with a heavy click. In the near-total darkness, a shape stirred. Liam? Relief so profound it was painful washed over him. Carter, are you hurt? No, they just stunned me. Carter's voice was close. Liam felt hands, cool and careful, touching his face, his neck. My God, your face, what did they do? Nothing that matters. Liam leaned into the touch, a fleeting comfort. We need to get you out of here. We need to get out of here, Carter corrected, his fingers tracing the line of Liam's jaw. Walter, he works for your grandfather? All of this, it was for you? Liam nodded, the movement sending a fresh wave of pain through his skull. He told Carter everything, the words tumbling out in the dark. The years of pretense, the simmering hatred, the calculated move to gain power, and the old man's parallel plot, hidden behind a veil of senility. The failed attempt on the yacht a year ago that had claimed another life instead. Carter listened, his breathing the only sound in the quiet stretches. When Liam finished, the silence was heavy. So the exhibit, the party, it was a trap we set, and they simply walked us into their own. Yes. Liam's voice was flat. He knows I'd never stop. He knows I want him dead. So I have to die first. No. The word was absolute. Carter's hand found Liam's, their fingers lacing together. You don't get to decide that. Not for me. Carter, listen to me. Liam turned, trying to see his face in the gloom. This isn't a negotiation. You won't let me walk away. But you can. I'll give them what they want about my father. You'll be safe. Safe? Carter's whisper was fierce. Safe to do what? Go back to a world where you don't exist? Where every coffee shop, every street corner, every damn boardroom reminds me you're gone. That's not safety. That's a life sentence. You have your mother, your sister, a whole life. A life that only started making sense when I met you. Carter's grip tightened. I've already been given a second chance at life, Liam.
À Strange, impossible chance.
I won't waste it by being a coward now. It's not cowardice. It's survival. And surviving alone isn't living. Carter shot back. You think you're being noble? You're being selfish. You're leaving me to clean up the wreckage of your world. And I refuse. Liam was stunned into silence. Carter had never spoken to him like this, with such raw, unyielding force. Carter's tone softened, just a fraction. You told me once I helped you see color again. Let me do that now. Don't give up. Not on us. Not on outsmarting that vile old man one last time. He leaned in, his forehead resting against Liam's. We fight. Together. Or we don't fight at all. The defiance, the sheer, stubborn hope of it, seeped into Liam's bones, warming the cold dread. He had spent a lifetime building walls, calculating risks, accepting losses. Carter was offering something else. A partnership in the face of annihilation. All right, Liam breathed the word of surrender and a commitment all at once. Together, they talked in hushed, urgent tones, piecing together what they knew. The boat's layout from their brief transit. The number of men, 11 plus Walter. The gasoline on the lower deck. Alan's expertise with vessels. They'll want it to look like an accident again, Carter murmured. A fire at sea. The gasoline, they'll wait until it's fully light, Liam guessed. To coordinate to make sure they're far enough out. We have a little time. Time for what? Carter asked, but his voice held no despair, only a focused curiosity. To find a weakness. To be ready. Liam's mind, dulled by pain and fatigue, began to turn again, slowly. Walter wants information. He'll come back. We can use that. As if summoned, the lock turned. The door opened, framing Walter and 2 guards. Your grandfather has verified the information you provided, Walter said coldly. A cemetery. You think this is a game? It's the truth, Liam said, allowing his body to slump further, playing the broken man. He's there. In a plot under a false name. I can give you the name, the section, everything. But Carter walks first. I need to see him get on a life raft. I need your word. Walter's gaze flickered between them. Carter was watching Liam, his face a careful blank. Your word isn't worth much, Liam. But perhaps a show of goodwill. He signaled to a guard. Bring the life raft to the aft deck. Prepare it. Hope, treacherous and thin, flickered in Liam's chest. Walter turned to Carter. You, get up. Carter stood slowly. He looked at Liam, a long, deep look that held a universe of unspoken words. Then he took a step toward the door. As he passed Liam, he stumbled, falling against him. Liam instinctively caught him, and in that brief, chaotic second, Carter's hand slipped into the inner pocket of Liam's ruined suit jacket. When Carter righted himself, moving toward Walter and the guards, Liam felt the slight, familiar weight now nestled against his own chest. The silver pocket watch. Carter had returned it. The gesture was a message. Promise. I'm not leaving you. Walk, Walter ordered Carter, and the group moved out, leaving 1 guard to watch Liam. The moment the door closed, Liam let his head drop, as if in defeat. His mind was screaming. Carter's plan, if it was a plan, was a desperate gamble. The watch was a weapon of last resort, heavy enough to stun, maybe. But against armed men? Minutes ticked by, measured in the pounding of his heart. Then, a shout from above. Muffled. Curse. The sound of a scuffle. The guard by the door tensed, turning his head toward the noise. Liam moved. He surged upward, ignoring the agony in his back, and drove his shoulder into the guard's midsection. They crashed into the door. Liam headbutted him, feeling cartilage give way. The man grunted, his grip on his weapon loosening. Liam twisted, his bound hands fumbling, and grabbed the gun. Another shot rang out from the deck above. Closer. Liam brought the pistol's grip down on the guard's temple. The man went limp. Liam wrestled the keys from his belt, his fingers clumsy, and freed his wrists. The blood rushing back to his hands was its own kind of pain. He burst into the hallway. The smell of smoke was faint but distinct. Not the diesel smell, acrid, chemical. The gasoline. He took the stairs 2 at a time, emerging into the lounge. It was empty. Through the windows, he saw figures on the aft deck. Carter was there, backed against the railing, holding a small fire extinguisher he must have wrestled from a mount. Walter had a handgun trained on him. 2 other men were grappling with a smoking, overturned gasoline can. Carter had somehow caused a diversion, a failed ignition. Liam didn't hesitate. He raised his stolen gun and fired through the glass. The window shattered. The shot went wide, but the effect was instant. Everyone on deck froze, turning. Liam! Carter shouted. Walter spun, his gun swinging from Carter to Liam. Foolish boy. Liam fired again. This time, the shot caught one of the men by the gasoline can in the leg. He went down screaming. The other dove for cover. In the chaos, Carter lunged, swinging the metal extinguisher at Walter's arm. The gun went off, the bullet pinging off the metal railing. Liam was already moving, kicking open the shattered door to the deck. The scene was pure chaos. Alan was emerging from the control room upstairs, shouting. The man Liam had shot was writhing. The second guard was raising his weapon. Liam's world narrowed to Carter and the gun in Walter's hand, now re-aiming at Carter's chest. There was no time to think. Liam threw himself forward, not at Walter, but into Carter, knocking him hard to the deck just as Walter fired. The shot roared. A searing heat scored Liam's side. He landed on top of Carter, the wind knocked out of both of them. Walter advanced, his face a mask of cold fury. It ends now. Both of you. He aimed again. Liam tried to roll to shield Carter, knowing it was too late. Then a new sound cut through the morning, the deep, throbbing whump 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 of helicopter blades. A spotlight, blindingly white, speared down from the lightning sky, pinning the deck in its glare. A voice, amplified and authoritative, boomed from above. "This is the Coast Guard. Drop your weapons. Put your hands where we can see them." Walter looked up, stunned. His moment of hesitation was all it took. From the stairwell behind Liam, figures in tactical gear surged onto the deck, weapons raised. Leading them was a man with a grim, familiar face. Alex, Liam's head of security. The remaining armed men dropped their weapons. Walter slowly lowered his shoulders slumping in defeat. The spotlight washed over everything. Liam looked down at Carter, who was staring up at him, eyes wide with shock and dawning relief. The pain in Liam's side was a distant throb. "How?" Carter breathed. Liam managed a faint, pained smile. "The car," he whispered, "had a tracker. Alex, he knew something was wrong when we didn't check in from the estate. When he saw the car heading for the coast instead, he winced, a fresh wave of dizziness hitting him. He called in every favor he had." Carter's hand came up, touching Liam's cheek. "You're bleeding. A lot." Sighed. Liam grunted. "Just a graze." Felt like more than a graze. Paramedics swarmed the deck. Liam was eased off Carter, and he watched as Carter sat up, refusing a stretcher. His eyes never leaving Liam's face as they applied pressure to his wound. Over by the railing, Walter was being read his rights. He looked old, and tired, and utterly empty. As they loaded Liam onto a stretcher for the helicopter airlift, Carter walked beside him, his hand gripping Liam's. The first rays of the sun were breaking over the horizon, turning the endless gray ocean to molten gold. "You were right," Liam said, his voice weak but clear. "About not giving up." Carter leaned down, his lips brushing Liam's forehead. "And you were right," he whispered. "We do make a good team." The helicopter's roar swallowed any further words, but the grip of their hands said everything that needed to be said. The long night was over. The sea had not taken them. Ahead lay the shore, the aftermath, the tangled truth, and a future they would now face side by side.